Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Challenge 41 of our RHAP podcast for episode 5. I am Brian Cohen. Me, as always, my co-host, Ali Lasher. How are you?
I am on the road, but because of us teasing about your current microphone, I had to travel with my actual microphone. So that I didn't show up the next week looking exactly like you. So I played myself. How are you?
Doing good. Yes, I have Sam Moore. If you're watching this, I'm sure you're not, but the mic arrived. I just haven't unpacked it. But also, I kind of like the control system we got going on here. I don't know. The mic works. Maybe I'll just stick with it. We'll see. I thought last podcast was pretty good, and this one was good. You know, don't break something that's not broken, right? Isn't that a thing? I don't know. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know if like whatever microphone you're using is. Oh, you mean like because the audio is good? I think you meant like you
Yeah.
felt like you did a good podcast.
Both.
So
Both. I thought our podcast was
both.
pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. I don't know. You told me if it was not good, but we got a couple 5-star reviews in the last week, so I was like, oh, but something must be going right.
Oh, not me missing that. Also, we forgot we have old business.
Oh, I love
We
old
we
business.
forgot we forgot a key feature of a new feature of our pod that I'm
Yes.
liking. I hope other people are
Oh,
liking
I
it.
love it. I think it's great. The new.
But we did forget. So I believe we connected via text about the new, and then we put it to the Facebook chat. It was not as definitive on Facebook as I expected it to be.
I assume you want me to share this.
Yeah, so I think the new last week. So this is the image I've been putting in the Facebook group. So I figured let the listeners see the beauty of my Canva Premium, now paid subscription, previously free trial. And I don't share this award anywhere, so it's totally useless aside from the Facebook group. But I think Gabe has to be the like pretty decisive Newt from last week.
Yeah, I think when you smash bananas out of an elimination, it pretty much automatically gives you the Newt status. So I feel very confident that we can declare Gabe as the Newt.
So here's your certificate. All right, that's it. You can put it away now. That was
Okay.
just needed to close the loop on that. Don't spoiler alert. I'm Newtless. I don't know what we're gonna do this week, so we'll have to figure that
We'll
out.
talk it through. We'll see as the podcast. Maybe a Newt will emerge from the discussion. We'll find out who is him.
I mean, I don't even feel pressured if there's no Newt of the week.
Mm-hmm.
Like you're all tied for last place Newt. You're all tied for mute.
Yeah. Should it be like
Yeah.
Bill Simmons has a thing like the Hall of Fame pyramid where like not all Hall of Famers equal. Some are like the peaks of the peaks. Should we at the end of the year do some sort of Newt pyramid where it's like who was like of the Newts, who was the Newt of the Newt? If not everyone, like not every week deserves a Newt, but he would still give it one. But like Gabe was like a pretty big Newt for his week. So something to ponder as well.
Yeah, where I felt like Cedric was maybe more of a soft Newt.
He was a
That
very
week.
soft Newt. Yes, exactly.
I hear that. One thing now that this is the first, spoiler alert. Well, actually, someone I know in real life who listens to the podcast wrote to me and was like, funny enough, I put the podcast on out of habit before I finished the episode. And Brian said, spoiler alert, Banana goes home, and it actually did spoil me, but like not in a blame way.
I
Just
gave
that's
I
funny.
gave spoiler alert. So what's that to do? You give spoiler alert.
Yeah.
You can say whatever you want.
So I will allow a few minutes, a few seconds for people to pause the podcast if you haven't finished the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so spoiler alert, a second Newt has now gone home. There's only been 2 Newts that have left. So I don't know if this ties into like the peak of the Newt peak, but I do think we should start, soft ranking like who we think is the most likely to return as they exit, which is something we've done in the past. So maybe that is like a king of the Newts at the end of like who's the number one most likely to Newt.
Right.
I don't know.
There's something
most likely to be a vet, most likely to be promoted from Newt.
Well, based on vet status, I think if you just like make it to the final, you just like graduate into vet status no matter what. So you don't need much to become a vet.
Truer words, Brian. All right. We did get a final sort of piece of the formatting puzzle.
Yes.
Where we now do know what happens. Like better to apparently be with a member of the same stripe than to repeat a partner.
We get the power rankings of like the order of operations. That we find out definitively that yes, as you have been speculating all along, I feel like you were first on that. So kudos to you. I don't think we saw anyone else speculating that anyway. So kudos to you that you couldn't repeat a partner at all, let alone back to back, but you had to kind of do like the algorithm status of going through all your partners first, and then you could start to go back to repeating people. So we got to see that play out.
Yeah, they're not. I think it's crazy. I think the fact that the show would prefer vet and Newt pairings over repeats boggles the mind.
Yeah.
But maybe it will make more sense as we see the format evolve into sort of the next phase of this, whatever it is. But I'm jumping ahead. We get kind of like some nebulous conversation at the beginning of this episode of like, oh, now that Bananas is gone, the division between the vets is gone, and the division between the Newts and the vets is gone. We were like told that, but I don't think that's how this episode plays out at all.
Yeah, the sentiment that especially like Olivia was trying and some of the other rookies were trying to preach was like Bananas is like the glue holding a lot of the vets together, and he was even pulling in some of the rookies. And like you would think that would be the case, right? Like that, like if you haven't really been like if you're not on the show or watching the show, like sure, that would make sense. Bananas would be kind of a linchpin to bring these people together. But we don't like that hasn't played out in the votes. Like they all were totally fine voting him in like the previous week to make him potentially the hangnail. They haven't really supported him a lot. Even like going back to week 1 when Bananas was trying to make a move, like Derek bowed out with like a lot of the other people that we would think would maybe be with him weren't with him. So I would say it more opens things up camera time wise. I don't know if it opens things up strategically. I think a lot of these people were already doing things on their own. Maybe for D, I can see because she has been very much attached to him in particular, but voting wise, not really, but like socially. But other than that, I think a lot of other people were already doing many other things.
Yeah. It is, and like even in the interviews I've listened to, not this week, but like in the past, like it's really just not clear to me how much of these configurations are like real versus like what we need for the edit of the show, you know? Right. And I felt like this was sort of a continuation of what is required for the edit of the show versus what you're saying, what actually is playing out. And then I'm also like, from an editing perspective, really questioning like how much, so the episode was called like Pride Before the Fall or something like that. And Michaela gets a confessional being like, yeah, the new threats are all feeling really confident, but that's the pride that comes before the fall. Are they trying to tee up sort of like a season-long arc? You know, Lecca even mentions like we're being prepared for Newts versus vets. Now, I was like for the final, but I think she just means in general that that's how the gameplay is going to come out. Or is that more just the arc of the episode? In which case, if it's just the arc of the episode, no offense to Ben. I think Ben has a bright future on the challenge. We'll talk about it. But it's really not such a hit to the Newts that Ben goes home. Ben was, if anything, getting himself ingratiated last week at CT and some of the other vets. So one of the most vet-friendly Newts gets knocked out by Derek, and to his own admission, Ben's own admission, not a very physically threatening Newt. So this wasn't the pride before the fall for the new threats. If anything, this was a great outcome for the new threats.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of like
or a fine outcome.
Yeah, it's like how they hinted about Justin. Like Justin's kind of a vet rookie. He's kind of ingratiated himself with a lot of the vet people as well. So there's not much of a loss. Yeah, we saw Ben connecting with CT a decent amount last week. So yeah, there wasn't much of a connection. This wasn't like Leo going home, who was like seemingly really one of the big rah rookies got to stick together. So yeah, I guess that's more of an episode storyline. But Michaela's had some weird confessionals this entire season, so it's almost like hard to take anything she says literally, because almost anything she says out of context, it doesn't seem to me making a whole lot of sense. But the one editing thing we did get to see properly play out was we noted that Cara was like very purple, and we get a sense as to why, that she has to pull herself out of the game here for seemingly a very serious situation with her family. I think it was, she said something with her mom. Her aunt was the one, I guess, that gave her the news. So I don't know what the situation might be, but obviously it was very serious enough that she had to take herself out. Obviously for Cara, she loves this, so like she would never do this if it wasn't absolutely necessary.
Yeah, so my understanding is on Mother's Day this year, Cara announced that her mom sadly passed away in April. So I think that was
That
what was going
tracks.
on.
Yeah.
So obviously, deepest sympathies to Cara. It's horrible.
Horrible.
And it was really, really sad when, CT's offering to come with her and he's like, I'll tell TJ I'm going, I'll pack up. Wouldn't be the first time I did it. I just rewatched, CT leave on
Yeah.
XSQ with DM, and it was just, obviously CT's been sent home before and CT's been
Right.
kicked off for violence before. I assume he's referring to when he left because of DM
I think so.
when she was sick. So just a really sad moment for everyone.
Yeah, and obviously for Cara, it's horrible, the situation she had to go through. But then even like everyone was so excited, like, oh my god, Cara's back on the flagship. This is so great, and we didn't really get to see her the first few weeks, and then here she goes here. I hopefully we get a chance to see her at 42, or whenever she feels appropriate to make the reappearance. But it's definitely a bummer for the show, and then obviously even more so for Cara personally.
Yeah. And it would be interesting to see. I mean, yeah, again, we really only saw like her alliance of, Derek. I think Derek protected her. CT definitely protected her when they were trying to go for, I guess, Jake. Was it when Jake was paired with her?
Yep.
But we didn't really see a lot of game where she sat, which is kind of typical Cara. Like maybe that was where she was sitting in the game, and wasn't doing much otherwise socially. But we are seeing like 3 factions of the house play out. And again, Ben, I think, isn't like a hit to the main Newt-tron, like the main Newt central of the Tarzan and the Janes of Jeremy D, Sydney and Lekka, plus their connection to Aviv via Johnny, which we see getting some airtime where they made like a little memorial to Johnny with a banana with a dead face drawn on it. Now you get to see the foot blocker sign. I assume you noticed it.
Yes, I did notice it here, very front and center. Very funny. I could see this is something that Bananas would do himself, so I would hope he would appreciate a good memorial for him on his way out. Of course, we get to hear his little voiceover, still haunting the show of like I am the challenge. I would probably hear that clip maybe a couple more times through the season. But yeah, that was very funny. And it's good to see now D again like branch out from that storyline. Maybe Will gets to rekindle the hotel love. Who knows?
I don't see that for him. But no, I mean, it's really interesting because I think we got not a lot of shit. Some people felt very strongly like having a flirt match, showmance with Bananas isn't necessarily like a death knell on your challenge career. I don't think we're saying decisively it was, but there is a pattern of this happening to women who are in relationships with Bananas. Some of which he's confirmed himself. He didn't want his relationships on the show.
Yep.
D, I think both catches a really lucky break here where it was enough to get her in with like Aviv and some of the older school vets who Bananas is with, but not too long where she and Bananas got serious. Like she even says like, oh, he really wanted to see these bras. He never got to. Like she's tongue in cheek about it. I also think, to D's credit, whether or not Bananas was on the show anymore, D just has such an unseriousness about her in a great way, not just totally, just like in this situation. It is so fun and funny to me how little she cares about Bananas. And like that is iconic. And that is why I think D wouldn't necessarily fall victim to that, because she just isn't taking this banana stuff seriously at all. Like I think she likes him enough as a friend, as a flirt, but she clearly did not have like deep feelings for him, which I think for her future is awesome.
Yeah, and to your point, like the things with Mariah and some of the other women, like Natalie, like those are a bit more season-long arcs that extended even into close to a final and then beyond it. So for D, like this is like, if she makes it far in this season, this is going to be like such almost a small footnote in her story. If she goes on to a final and like places or even like wins, like people will be like, oh yeah, didn't like D hook up with Bananas on that season that she wanted for? Like it would be like that. It wouldn't even be like a much of a talking point at all. So she's now able to craft like a full narrative for herself. Luckily for her, it doesn't her also go out this week, which it potentially could have been based off the daily. So lucky for her, she catches a break there, and now we get to kind of see her play a full game.
Yeah, so I think she's definitely much more baked in with Jeremy and the Tarzan's Angels or whatever, with obvious connections like socially to Aviv. Then you have the UK alliance, which is really sort of the Newts that seem to include Tay, Adrian, Olivia, Theo as the vets in that kind of group, Jake, what have you. What's I think the story here that's interesting to me, they're still pushing this vet versus Newt storyline, but it really seems like a lot of the vets, whether it's because Bananas left or not, are trying to really seem which Newt faction they fit into. Are they with the UK, quote unquote, through Olivia, like Derek C, like Anissa, like those folks? Or are they going to be more in the like former Bananas Angels, now currently Jeremy's Tarzan Girls alliance there? So I actually think it's very interesting to see two big Newt factions pop up, and that's where vets are slotted into, rather than what we would normally see in a season like this, where there's a Wes and Banana side and the Young Bucks are the Newts and they're going to go with Wes, or like Wes is going to scoop them up. Like, I think this is a very Newt driven social season, and I think that's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and I think for the vet men, I think they are trying to find their way into different pockets, but I think like the vet women are kind of like their own group, because I think there's like the Nani, Anissa, Ashley, Aviv crew that are trying to almost stay out of it altogether and just like let everyone else like target each other and just try to avoid. I think that's like almost their own separate world, and then it's like the vet men that are like, you know, Theo is like in one, like with the UK, and you see more other people with other groups, and I think that's like the men are more scattered. I think the women are trying just to like almost stay out of it as much as they can.
Yeah, I don't know what will happen with Aviv. It looks like Aviv is still close with Dee and Jeremy, and we get a confessional where she's saying like, I feel like I could work well with Jeremy. They were early partners. I think they're the first partners. I also think like the fact that, at least to our knowledge, they don't know how the final is going to either like be staffed, like how people even get to the final, and once they're there, like how the format will be, whether it will be, you know, pairs, rotating pairs, individual game, whatever. So I think that has to really play into like where you're going to align, and probably limits a lot of strict alliance making, because you might really need to lean on these people to get to, or more likely run a final. So I think we always complain about that. Like, I'd like them to know the game they're playing, so they could like be more, you know, dug in. Like, it's cool that Olivia is really dug in, because she's riding with Theo regardless. Like, if advancing Theo's game would hurt her game, she'd be willing to do it. Like, they're in a relationship. So it makes sense that Olivia is like extremely dug in with the Brits, because she's trying to protect Theo. I'd like to see everybody else feel comfortable, like really digging their heels in when it comes to the social strategy.
Yeah. No, because it would make things, you know, we like going back to like one of the War of the Worlds where it was like the two teams going in. Obviously, it played such a big factor. Having a smaller team in the final was a huge advantage opposed to going against like a bigger team. And if the rookies knew that they would be a larger team, let's say they start picking off the vets, maybe they would start looking inward and being like, well, I don't know, do we want to go to a final like 8v4? Maybe we should pick off some of our own, you know, then like what's the fresh their own like their own stragglers to like even things out. So I think that would have been interesting if they knew what was coming.
Yeah, definitely. And then speaking of not knowing what's coming, we get to the daily and we find out the car is going to be replaced by John A.
Crazy.
And this gagged me, because I feel like we have not seen a substitution like this in a long time, like a mid-season substitution.
Yeah, this is late. 5 episodes. This has to this has to be one of the latest full on, like, as John I said, she's on the couch putting her putting her kids to bed, and then the next day she's on a flight to Chile. I think Chile, right? To do the season. Like, that's kind of wild to have this be done. So like, I understand like the first 2 episodes, maybe you have someone like almost in sequester potentially, but I mean, there's no way you can keep someone in sequester this long. So It's also weird because in some seasons, like, yeah, like their partner, you don't want to like the format would get screwed up, or you have to send home their like, Cara's partner too, or whatever. But there's literally a built-in mechanism for when someone doesn't have a partner, like what to do. So I was stunned that Leo wasn't just the hang now. And it's like, yeah, it's quite unfair that he's the hang now, but maybe the house like will understand it's unfair and just give him a break and not vote him in, but let like the game determine that. But it's crazy that like they have the built-in game mechanism to figure this out, and instead they bring someone else in. I was very surprised that John A popped out.
Well, we also just sent Nia home on an injury. And now I understand that she was already into an elimination. So it kind of works to yada yada her and say,
Sure.
oh, well, she lost the elimination by medical DQ. And so Gabe's the hang now. But if I'm Gabe, I'm like, my partner couldn't compete. And now you brought a replacement. I had to just be the hangnail and then ultimately go into elimination against one of the best people in the house.
Yeah,
and Leo just gets like a free ride with John a two-time All-Stars champion. But it does suggest to me, I had the same thought about like, why isn't Leo just the hangnail? But I hope we remember this. I know I won't. I hope you remember this because I'm very curious to see. Like, to me, it suggests if the end result of this was going to just be a purge or like the bottom 3 people go into elimination or whatever, like the numbers really wouldn't be significant because you would just get rid of one less woman by that mechanism than you would have otherwise. Maybe like the numbers are really going to matter, right? Obviously, if it was going to be a vets versus new threat team challenge, like I've been hoping for, it wouldn't really matter if you have an extra woman down or extra man down because the idea would be they'd run it like UK versus US when the UK team had like 3 people. So I'm curious to just kind of see if like the numbers were really important as we move on, or if this was just a really weird thing that they wanted to bring John A in.
I lean toward it being the latter, that they were just like, let's just get John A in here. But who knows? There could be something on the line that was like, oh, I guess that makes sense why they had to replace Cara. But I'd be hard pressed to understand what that might be.
Could they have already reached out to John A over Nia, and then it played out that Nia was in the bottom and Nia went in and it was fine, and it's like, oh, we already like have like John A's already passed the medical eval or whatever it is.
Right. Yeah, like they do a medical eval. It's possible. I mean, obviously they needed like at least a day or 2 heads up. Like I'm sure like the car situation was something that was like ongoing, and because it's not an easy flight to get to Chile. I know you got to get your passport. John A's got to get like her family in order. Like there's a lot of things you can't just like hop on a plane and disappear. So I would assume they had to have at least a couple days to like get their ducks in a row here. Because it wasn't even like, oh, Leo, you're going to be the hangnail, and like maybe you'll have a partner coming the next day or whatever. Like they had it ready to go. So yeah, I don't know what the mechanisms were for this.
It's also really interesting because now I don't think it's matters, because I think if you're John A, you'd rather show up than not show up. But considering that there are performance points that stack from the beginning, it is a huge advantage to come in episode 5 with 0 points and having had no opportunity to get those points. I mean, someone might say it's a huge advantage to start in episode 5 and not be at risk of the eliminations that she missed. But even if they were going to transfer Cara's points, which I think they shouldn't, Cara had 0 points. So it would be a goose egg.
Yeah, honestly, I think the fact that there were points makes it easier. Like, it is like, yeah, she got to skip the first couple eliminations, but like, yeah, she has no points. We don't know what those
like
points really.
Yeah,
so it's like there's obviously, I think everyone would sign up for just joining episode 5 probably and like skipping the first couple eliminations. It must have been so surreal for John A to be sitting there and then to have TJ start listing off things that we all know about, like, oh, like, you know, your points for this thing, or you know, who's going to be the hangnail, and like we're flipping. Like she's probably like, what game are we playing right now? Is there like a rule book I can read on the plane? That must be very odd for her to like be dropped into a game where everyone knows the rules, and she's like, I don't know, I'm just going to try to win, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, definitely. Also, like I know, some people would know this. I don't, like who the actual alternates were for this season that they usually fly out. Like you were saying, like they usually have like 1 man and 1 woman fly out.
I would think so. Yeah.
I assume it would have been John A, and that would have been crazy to fly her to Chile and then fly her back again. Right. Like then she's been on like 6 flights to Chile while in the process.
Getting a lot of miles, so good for her.
Yeah. Let's talk about the SpawnCon of the daily. I'm not too spooky for me. I had to fast forward through the preview clip because I don't like scary movies.
Yeah, it's the movie Him. Marlon Wayne is one of the stars of the movie.
Marlon Wayne?
Is that not his name?
Like
Wayne?
You think it's the Wayne brothers?
Now I feel like an idiot. What's his actual name?
You don't know the Waynes brothers?
Oh, is it okay? So Marlon Wayans? Is it singular?
Marlon Wayans.
Okay, Marlon Wayans is one of the stars.
Wow.
It's look, if it's not on Bravo, it's not my thing. So like, if he was on Summer House somewhere,
when they used to just like air movies on Bravo on the weekends with commercials, like 100%, there's no way a Marlon Wayans movie wasn't one of those movies.
That's fair. But they do the challenge, they do the daily to point out the similarities to this movie of a vet, helping to groom, cultivate, grow a rookie. They have to work together. They have to sacrifice, yada, yada, yada. But for the daily is they are collecting. They have to run out and dig out 3 50-foot posts that are buried. I think they said like 5 feet deep. They have to dig them all out, run them to the other side of the yard, re-hang them, and then kick a field goal, which is kind of a fun thing to end the daily on. But the question I have is, so they tee up the SpawnCon, right? And T's just like, all right, we're going to hear from Marlon Wayans, and we're going to watch the trailer. They have all these funny reaction shots of all the cast watching the trailer. Like, ooh, oh my God, this is so cool. There is a 0% chance that they rolled out a cordless television for them to watch said trailer on, right? And they just said like, ooh, come on, cast, make some funny reactions and we'll splice this in. I assume that has to be what happened.
So it's so funny because they used to do, like, I 100% have a memory, if not on the challenge, other shows, but I think on the challenge, of them showing us like a television there.
Mm-hmm.
Am I insane? Like, I know they didn't have the television here.
Probably.
But I feel like in the past they have.
Yeah, I would assume they probably would have done more of this back at the house or something like that, where they had like, electricity and things ready to hook up and not just like out in the middle of a field where it's a little more challenging.
Yeah, I don't know if, write it down. Like, maybe we'll ask someone one day. But, like, if maybe they had a producer just, like, read the transcript of what he says, or I could just see, like, and we need excitement, and 3, 2, 1, excitement, like you're at, like, a filming of a TV show in LA. In any case, I have a million questions about, like, this is, like, a pretty big movie. Like, kind of cool that they picked the challenge to have, like, such a big sponsorship. Plus there was a prize for the elimination winner. Plus they mentioned the theme again and had another themed. They themed both challenges, which is pretty unique. So I imagine that's pretty expensive. I don't know.
I would think so.
Kudos to the challenge for having this relationship. Marlon Wayans mentions the challenge and like makes the comparisons in his video.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you if you think that Marlon Wayans has ever seen an episode of The Challenge, but you don't even know who Marlon Wayans is. So I don't know how you could weigh in on that,
So, I mean, did he pop up on the Challenge 40? I know Nick Miller was there. He didn't pop up on that.
Nick Miller, aka Jake Johnson, who did star in the show New Girl with a relative of Marlon Wayans. I think.
Oh, are they like what, cousins?
Like Damon Wayans Jr. I think it's his nephew.
His nephew?
Let's see.
I
know more than Brian about them, but not that much.
I don't think he popped up on that. So, but it's possible. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if him and like TJ are friends. I can see them being in a Vegas circle together somewhere. I don't know. It's possible there's like some friendship connection there.
Okay, so Damon Wayans is the brother of Marlon Wayans. So yeah, nailed it. It's his uncle.
Okay.
So his nephew, so Marlon's nephew is Damon Wayans Jr., who's on New Girl.
Is Damon Wayans Sr. an actor as well?
I can't believe you don't know.
I mean, I know him. I just I don't know.
Damon Wayans.
I know that. I know Damon Wayans Jr. for sure.
No, but Damon Wayans is like, I think, more famous than Damon Wayans Jr.
Oh, so he is an actor.
Like, they're the Wayans brothers. This is crazy, Brian.
What do I know Damon Wayans Sr. from?
Like, first of all, no one calls him Damon Wayans
Well,
Sr.
I'm trying to differentiate between the juniors.
Okay. First, he was on SNL. He created In Living Color. He but now I'm like in before, like I'm skipping like the 90s.
Oh, was he the lead in
He
that
was
show?
in My Wife and Kids.
Yeah, My Wife and Kids. Okay, I know who he is. Okay. No, I love him. I didn't know they were.
I love him.
I didn't know this was all one big family. I didn't know they were. I don't know.
The Wayans brothers.
I didn't know that. I didn't know there was like the Wayans family was so big. I thought they were all individual people. I didn't realize there was such a connection.
Well, they are individual people, but
sometimes your last names in Hollywood, you don't always, they're not always related. But okay, it's brothers and a son separately. It's exciting for them. Is there a fourth Wayans?
There's many Wayans. There's the other guy. So Marlon Wayans, as featured on the challenge, was in White Chicks with Shawn Wayans, who's also their brother.
Oh my God. The Wayans dynasty.
This is wait, you're kidding, right?
How many more are there? Is there a fifth?
Keenan Ivory Wayans.
Who's that one?
That I know, but I had to look him up. Like, now that I see him, I know him. He was a co-creator of In Living Color.
Is there any women Wayans, or is it all men?
Like, we'll have to look into this. Like, but I
didn't know they were all related. This is so fun.
Okay, I don't know. Like, has Marlon Wayans seen more challenge episodes, or has Brian Cohen seen more Wayans vehicles?
I probably challenge episodes. I love My Wife and Kids. That was a great show.
Did you see Let's Be Cops, Damon Wayans Jr.?
I did not. Oh, maybe I did. Oh, was he the one? He did that one with Nick Miller, right?
Jake Johnson, yes.
Yeah, I did see that one.
Great synergy here. While you're listening to this, the series finale of New Girl Old Guy is available. So if you would call Jake Johnson Nick Miller, maybe check that out. Anyway, let's get back to this. Are you a Scary Movie? Are you gonna see him? Gonna be him?
Unlikely to see. Unlikely.
Okay. So yet another Wayans vehicle that you will be missing.
I did see their first Key. It's a Key and Peele movie, right? They said this is another one.
So it's a Jordan Peele movie.
Okay, yeah, because I saw his first one, the one with the spoon. What was that called? Like
Not Us.
Runaway or whatever.
Out?
Get Out. Yeah, I saw that one.
Runaway. I believed that was another movie I hadn't heard about. I was like, oh no, sorry, it must be Runaway.
I mean, it's basically the same. Yeah, Run away, get out.
Incredible. All right. Well, we'll look for that when Brian starts doing a Peele movies podcast.
I didn't see what was the next one? Was like
Us.
Yeah, I didn't see that one. That looked really creepy. Not for me.
All right. Well, hopefully it's for Derek Seeks. He's getting 2 tickets to the premiere.
Good for him.
Okay. So the challenge itself.
Mm-hmm.
I have nothing to say about it. Like, I didn't dislike it. The Ben Charlie Brown montage was great, but be happy to never see it again.
Yeah, I mean, look, I thought it was creative. They, it was giving all the way back to, I think it was like the first duel when like West basically won the final because of soccer goaling. Like he was like part of the final was like kicking a soccer goal. So like they don't really usually incorporate like actual sports skills into the challenge. It's like sports abilities, but you're not like throwing a pitch or something like that. The closest is sometimes you're shooting a basketball or something like that. But you don't really see straight up just kicking a football and using an actual football. So I thought that was kind of cool. And like, this is a good endurance, teamwork thing of, the heavy pulls, digging. It was a classic daily. Yeah. Very, very strong.
Yeah, so we also get the full lineup of the finish, which I was thrilled about. So Michaela and Jake wins. Michaela putting up back-to-back W's. What do you think about this for Michaela? Like, I'll just jump ahead of it and say, like, I'm happy for her to get as many points as possible, and I don't care about the strategy of not winning on a guy's day and looking like too big of a threat. Especially, I don't really know where Michaela stands in the house. I'm happy for her to win every time. But do you think there's any wisdom in only really trying on your gender day and just hoping the points aren't that big a deal?
Yeah, I mean, look, ideally, it's probably best to win when it's, you could potentially be going in, but especially for something like this, she didn't know that going into this daily. Like, it wasn't fully clear it was going to be a guy's day, so you have to just try. And, I think it's good. It's like typically the challenge, it definitely it leans more to I want to run a final with this person than this person's so strong I want to get them out. So I think Michaela's showing herself as like the top female or one of the top female. I think it's beneficial. Then you don't really see the strongest people be targeted over and over again. It's more so this person is really strong. I want to run with them in the final. So I think it's okay for her.
And then Adrian and Turbo, 7 points. I want to call out Adrian, sneaky point getter. She hit up Goose Egg the first 3 episodes, but she came in second last week too. So she immediately jumps to 14 points in just 2 weeks. Will and Aviv, 6 points. 4th place is Lekka and Gabe. Not bad for a Newt team, 5 points. Anissa and Cedric in 5th place. 6th place, America and Leroy. 7th place, Sydney and CT. Highlighting that Sydney kicks the field goal. CT doesn't even try, which, respect. She nails it. 8th place, Ashley and Jeremy. And then we get a pretty sad edit compilation of Ben trying 16 times to kick the field goal. I will say, I actually think for Ben to go out on this episode, he does the best commentary we've seen in 5 episodes, both on his own elimination and his own kicking issues during the challenge. So kudos there. But like, and kudos for Ben for trying, but like at 16 times, why isn't Olivia trying? I was like screaming. It's not like you have to run or change positions, or just give it one kick and see if maybe you could do a better job.
Yeah, I agree. You would think after 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe like, you know what, let's just try one. It's not too hard. I mean, especially also, not for nothing. Maybe Olivia can maybe go run and get the ball. Let Ben maybe take a little breather. Let him catch his breath. He has to run and catch it, go and retrieve it every single time. He's huffing and puffing when he's doing that. I'm not sure it's that contributed to all the misses of the kicks, but I don't know. Go get it, Olivia. You can do it as well. Yeah, that was frustrating. I felt bad for Ben. I'm glad it didn't lead to him going directly into elimination. So at least he had that as a saving grace.
As Olivia said in a few episodes ago, you don't know what you're not good at or you're good at till you're good at it. So like maybe she's an expert field goal kicker. She just didn't know.
Some of the kicks were like very impressive. I mean, the field goal they had to build, it was not like that wide. Like a normal field goal is like, pretty wide to like get it through. They seemed like pretty narrow. I know they weren't probably kicking it much more than like maybe like 15, 20 yards or whatever, but
it was lower,
it was
right?
Like,
or no? Like
it was lower. Yeah, it was lower, but still, it was like some of the kicks were like booming through. I mean, I'm glad none of them like went right over the post to make it like, a little iffy on the review. You get some questionable calls in there. A lot of them were just like boom, dead center. Like, put them in the NFL.
Speaking of football doodads, can you send me our draft? I couldn't log into ESPN. I couldn't even achieve logging in. Sure. How'd we do?
Should we do a review right now, live on air, on our RHAP football draft? Let's save it for the end. We'll save it for the end if people want to hear the team.
But send me a picture too, because
yes.
Okay. All right. Then Donnie and Justin, Leo and Jonnae, Theo and Tay. I just want to highlight 11th place. Another absolutely terrible performance from Theo, which becomes relevant when he like gets in Nani's back of like 10-time veterans who have never won. The way Theo is showing up this challenge, he will also never win a challenge. I'm not saying he can't improve, but like he is not a winner in his current state. Now watch he wins the season, but I won't be spoiled.
No, he looks beyond washed. Like it's crazy. Like to think of the Leo, the Theo that we saw like come pretty close to winning, I think is widely regarded as the most difficult final of all time. And now it's like if Theo did that final, he would be done halfway in and like he would quit and it would be toast. Like he is a shell of what he used to be altogether, like not just like his endurance, but like physical, like and mental, like anything that he does,
physical and mental.
He's bad at everything. Like the way we talk about Bananas being like good at everything, like Theo is like seemingly bad at everything that it comes his way in any daily or whatever. So it is wild to see how badly he is performing.
And wild for Theo to talk shit to other people who are performing better than him. Nany and Justin beat his ass in this daily. But Olivia and Ben do get 12th place. They eke it out. And then a really amazing Derek v. Derek finish where they both kick at the same time. And Derek K does take the W with Izzy over Derek and D.
Yep.
But I love CT being like, great finish. Like CT enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was very fun to see a kickoff right at the end. Derek K gets comes through in the clutch. Derek C does not, and kind of continues not a great showing from Derek. He's been coming in last or near last a lot of times now through this season. So the Derek that we saw almost win, season 40, if it wasn't for Jordan being like a fish. We're really struggling here.
Definitely. But he wants to turn around. He tells us before they go out, he wants to prove he's a vet that can take out a big threat. And he starts calling his shot. He wants to go against Jeremy or Will. What do you think of this plan?
I'm going to give Derek the benefit of the doubt and say he has seen other people name names about who they want to go up against, and people have said, no, we're going to do our own thing and kind of do the opposite of what people have kind of said to start. So I'm going to say Derek, this is not at all what happened, but I'm going to say Derek was doing some reverse psychology and being like, I'm going to throw out the big names so people want to we can't just do that. Let's just do something else, because this was a horrific idea for Derek. This is episode 5. He does not need to be calling out the big names. Let the big names target the other big names. Like set up a Theo versus Jeremy, so the two big guys can knock each other out. Let CT go up against Will. Like he does not need to be involved in that. He should be using all of his social powers to get a Ben or a Justin or someone else of similar size of stature to him, because this was, as he noted, would have went quite horribly if it went the way he wanted to.
If only he had an Izzy like Rogan in his ear to say, don't do that. Ask for the person you perceive as the weakest person. And look, maybe there was something there that Derek has residual like Justin trauma and was like, well, the last thing I need is saying, put me in against Justin.
Sure.
And I don't think necessarily Justin would be the de facto pick. And in fact, what Olivia says is like Ben is probably the best option for Derek to beat. And I do wonder if, I don't think Derek had more behind this in ulterior motive, but I do wonder if Olivia was actually more intentional about setting up Ben than she made it seem in confessionals, which we'll talk about. But I hated that move from Derek. I think it's more likely motivated by Derek. Derek's like the guy who, and I'm projecting myself, but he's like the guy who does the group project for everybody. And like, because he's really has a strong sense of justice and cares a lot. And so he'll like put himself out there for like the greater good and do it. But like, then like the jerks are like getting the A that you like tried to put up. Like you didn't need to do that. You could like tell them to do their work, like, so I have respect for where it comes from with Derek, but we got to play the game. You don't have anything to prove. Right. I know he does feel like he has a lot to prove to people, but you're a good competitor. You have your strengths, you have your weaknesses. Don't call out the biggest dude in the house in eliminations that I think the eliminations we've seen so far have all really been physical or would advantage the guys he wanted to call out over him. The laser one, Gabe and Bananas.
Like if he wants to do that, I understand it. If you're, we're 14 weeks in, 15 weeks in, and we're getting close to a final. He's like, you know what? I'm probably not going to beat someone like Jordan in a final, but maybe I can get lucky in elimination and knock him out. This is week 5. This is the 3rd men's elimination. There is a ton of season to go. You don't even know what the final might be like. You might be with one of these rookie guys in some way in a final. So it's way too early, especially for someone like Derek to be trying to get all fancy like this.
Yeah, totally. So, in terms of a lot of the conversation going around, I don't think we really saw a lot of new stuff until we get to, a meeting of sort of the vet UK minds with CT, Ashley, Theo, Aviv talking, and they kind of run Derek's plan by Ashley, or really Derek had already talked to Ashley about it, and Ashley flips out because it would possibly result in her being the hangnail, which of course Ashley Millionaire Mitchell is going to fly off the handle if she feels one iota threatened. What do you make of how this would, like, how from your perspective, you saw the episode, you saw Olivia's retelling of it in the morning. What do you think happened here with Olivia?
I think alcohol and ego and, raucous chitter chatter got the best of Olivia. And she's basically like, I don't mind being hanged now. I don't care. I'll do whatever. I'll take anyone down. And I think people take that and I think they twist it and they turn it and they are able to use that against her. Did she kind of mean it? Probably a little bit. Did she actually want to? I don't think she actually wanted to throw in Ben. I don't think she that was her grand plan to be like, oh, I'm gonna get Ben tossed in here. I think she was just talking a big game. I think Olivia's feeling herself. Her biggest rival just got sent home last week. She's probably feeling the cock of the walk here. And she's like, I don't care. You can do whatever. I'll be the hangnail. I don't care. I'm not going anywhere. And she kind of got caught with her hand in the cookie jar.
So at first, I thought this was a strong play from Olivia. I thought she was intentionally saying, you can if it works for you to make me the hangnail, I'm open to that. And I was like, oh, what a good way for Olivia to low risk ingratiate herself back into the veteran women who she's pissed off because she saved Izzy, or she's obviously openly working with the UK team. I thought that was a good move. Then immediately after, I was like, oh, what she's not saying that. She's saying, Ashley, you're being ridiculous. I wouldn't care if it was me, which is a very normal thing to say. But I think everyone's been, on the show, been touting the experience of the vets. I think Ashley's a lot more experienced than Olivia and is like, well, if you give me a crack, I'm going to push that crack open. Some of the vets already don't trust you, and we can use the excuse of you saying, I'm fine with it. It's Anissa saying Naya asked for a certain person, even though she was not saying that. So I thought it was a very sloppy move from Olivia that I could totally see and understand what happened. She probably also felt comfortable because Ben gets screwed here by people who all we've seen is how much they like him, how much they like working with him. Aviv gives him a pep talk during the challenge. So he definitely gets hosed. Maybe Olivia felt like, well, my partner wouldn't get thrown in, so it's a lot easier for me to say I'd be fine if it were me.
Right.
And then they're like, prove it. We'll make it you.
Yeah. This was, it's hard to blame Ben for a lot of this. This is definitely seemingly much more of the Olivia mistake that Ben has to, write the check for. So that's a tough way for him to go out.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised, Derek's so well connected in the house, especially with a lot of the vet women. I wouldn't be surprised if we hear in interviews this week, oh, Olivia really wanted, or a lot of people wanted Ben to go in just simply because he was Derek's best chance to win. And so we used whatever reason we could to make that happen. That's not what we saw, but if we heard that, I'd believe it.
Yeah, the only thing that if we heard that it wouldn't make any sense is the one person, I think no matter what, would vote the way Derek wanted would be John A. And John A. was voting for Jeremy. So if he was making that case that actually, he's backing off, what, actually give me Ben, John A. would have been right there, especially on a tied vote. It's deadlocked. She wouldn't be dying on this hill for Derek when that's not what Derek wanted.
No, and I don't mean Derek. I mean almost like you were saying, the women who are I know him better. Like the Izzy
trying to save
the Rogan.
Derek, sure.
Olivia's I'm not putting Jeremy in against Derek, even if he thinks he wants that. Again, we didn't see it. And I think the opposite of that is probably true too. If there was a plan that was for Derek's best interest, John A. would also probably be a part of that.
100%.
Granted, she's kind of new to the house and doesn't really know anyone, but something interesting to me, or could have been interesting, but wasn't, is Michaela and Jake. Jake being British and you're part of the UK alliance, and Michaela saying, I'll let Jake save whoever he wants because it's a guy's day. Are you surprised that they saved Leo and Janae when they could have actually saved Olivia here?
It's an interesting point. I didn't even think about that. I was more just thinking about how much more this stinks that whoever you save doesn't take away their vote, because I feel like that would have had such huge implications for this week with the even numbers, it being a tie. Like it could have been so fascinating to see like the wheels turning about how to like navigate this vote by taking away a vote from someone. So I think that it could have worked. That maybe they should have just maybe almost saved Olivia for the UK side of it, but I guess Olivia wasn't really up for grabs this week, so it's more so like saving Ben. I don't know. I was just more bummed out. I was like, yeah, this is such like almost a waste that until there's like so little people left, the saving team is just it's such a useless power.
Yeah, and Michaela and Ben, like, at least Ben told us last week on the show, like their relationship was a little bit strained being in power together, but I did feel like if there was a time where the save was going to matter, this was like a very interesting way it could have mattered, where like someone in the UK is like, I'm going to stop Olivia from being the hangnail if Olivia didn't want to be the hangnail. But
right,
big goose egg with Leo being saved. We do get an interesting vote. We get a 5-5-1-1 vote with Gabe and Lekka voting for Gabe and Anissa and Cedric voting for Justin. I will say, to me, sorry, Gabe, first to worst, automatic mute behavior, standing up and grandstanding and voting for yourself and thinking you really did something between your relationship with Ben and Jeremy.
Yeah.
Hated it.
I thought he seemed like he was like in his head, like creating the idea of a bird vote. He's like, oh, I'm going to do something cool. I'm just going to vote for myself. No one's ever seen this before. It's like we see that all the time. Though I thought it would have been absolutely hysterical and like great mute behavior if once Gabe voted for himself, people were like, oh, let's just vote for Gabe. That'd be kind of funny. And then the votes started piling up on him. I was hoping that would happen. I was bummed no one else decided to toss their vote that way, because I feel like if one or two other people did, maybe they could have snowballed it. So that was a bit of a bummer.
No, and if you want Will, you could want Gabe, like it's not like, I feel like if you came out and told Derek what happened, if he meant what he said, that he wanted one of the biggest, baddest dudes in the house, like, I understand Gabe doesn't have the same social capital. I guess this speaks to Will's perceived position in the house. I think Derek wants to take out a Newt with some power, and I think people view Gabe as a physical threat, but not a social threat. But yeah, I would have been so tempted to flip my vote to Gabe.
Yep. Would have been
great. So we get a revote. It remains split 6-6 because each of the burn votes just flip to one, either Ben or one each, Ben and Jeremy. And in challenge past, any new viewers, new listeners, TJ will berate you. TJ will threaten you. If you can't decide, I'll decide. If you can't decide, they're safe and you're both going in against each other, whatever. Suddenly, TJ of season 41 in the year 2025 pulls out a freaking coin and says, I'll flip a coin. Horrible. I'm so mad.
Horrible. I hate it's because they freaking already had the coin in the production from episode 1. We got this fancy coin. We could bring it back out again. There would have been so many other fun ways to do it. Yeah, like you said, make Ben and Jeremy, they're both safe. Everyone else is up to a roll of a dice. Or give the power to freaking Michaela and Jake, like make like the winners, like they get to decide who goes in,
or Derek, whatever.
Or give the power to Derek. He gets to call whoever he wants out. I don't know. This was for production. You dream of something like this, where it's like you have so many options to put the decision into someone's hand in the game, and to give everyone the free pass of like, oh, it just was a coin flip. It's okay. It was just a coin flip. To not make anyone make the decision and have that be a ripple effect for the next few weeks is such a wasted opportunity.
And like for anyone who, and no one would say this, but like, Survivor obviously has like a chance element with rocks. But to your point, it's like the people you are voting for become safe. So you are vulnerable by chance. If they were like, we're going to roll a 20-sided die and assign you each a number, fine. Like then that can be to chance of like the punishment of the people who couldn't decide going in. But I also, how beautiful would it have been? Derek's going around saying he wants Jeremy. And then they're like, actually, there's a deadlock tie, Derek, between Jeremy, the guy you want who will beat you, maybe, or Ben, a guy you have a decent chance sized up against. I love to see Derek actually have to, send himself in. And I think he might. That would be great.
I think he would have done it because based on how he was talking at the elimination, he was like, well, thank God that didn't happen. So I think he absolutely would have picked Jeremy. And I think that would have been
maybe he goes to the arena and he sees it and he backs down, and you're like,
I don't know. But anything is better than a stupid coin flip. Just to take the power and take the decision making out of the player's hands is so bad. It's so bad. And it's even worse because like they have, again, not the challenge precedent means anything, but they have precedent to do so many different things from the history of the show of tied votes that to go to the flip coin, like that's just like the challenge mechanism of breaking ties is honestly one of the best things the show does. It forces people to make decisions that you want to tie, then you're going in. Like that's one of the best things that the show has. And the fact that they took it out of it is crazy.
100% agree. I was really disappointed. The only precedent to your point that they have is that they will not reward going to a tiebreaker, which is basically what they did. Because they didn't make the deadlock people make really tough decisions. I have to say I was rooting for Ben here. Not that I'm not happy for Derek to win, but I just do want to see like the Newt led revolution here on the season. I think I don't know. I think Derek's behavior is very predictable, right? We know who he's working with, and he's someone who will go home rather than betray his alliances, which is fine and noble. But I think we need some things being shaken up here. And Derek's not really one for a shakeup. However, I don't know that he is going to become the new, he is mother, but he absolutely deserves to stay after this elimination performance. Very decisive victory from Derek.
Yeah, decisive victory in a hall brawl simulator, running around a circle. They collide at some point, and then just have to put their football. I think it was a bucket or a container. Was basically just how they get the point. And Derek wins both heats pretty easily. I mean, I think one of the biggest factors is Derek's speed. Derek is very, very fast. So even if Ben, I don't think he even did, but even if Ben was going to win the physical matchup, Derek was beating him. He was more towards Ben on the circle of it, so he had that going for him anyway. So good for Derek. Yeah, I really didn't care. I didn't have much of a rooting interest. I feel like both Ben and Derek, unfortunately for this season, are just very ancillary characters that are probably going to go within the next few weeks anyway. I guess because we haven't really seen Ben, I'd rather see Ben do more things. But I did not really. I think Ben and Derek are on the as the credits roll by for season 41, they're very low on the priority list of however this season plays out.
Interesting. I think that I'd be curious to. So Ben gets a very strong goodbye from TJ. You're a badass. We really hope to see you in the future. I get the sense from how many confessionals Ben has had and how much they go to him for the play-by-play. TJ asks him live to do a play-by-play in the sand after he gets eliminated. I think my sense is production really likes Ben from what we've seen. He does explain things in a good way in a confessional, which is hard to find a rookie to come in and be able to clearly explain what's going on in the show. Makes sense that they pluck somebody that's their job,
right.
To come on and do that. I jumping ahead to the ranking of who's more likely to come back between Ben and Blue. I think Ben is the more likely person to come back because I think they like the confessionals, the shtick. I think he is I am just speculating that he is a production darling. Because his performance, while he put his heart into it, did not warrant the goodbye he got from TJ.
No. Yeah, I think that's fair. That it seems like maybe production does have a very favorable view for him. I think the thing that works against him and more for Blue is the fact that he is not connected to any show. I think for Blue's best chances, if they do a battle of the seasons or battle of the shows and it's CBS versus MTV or Survivor, Big Brother or whatever, she has a lane. Ben doesn't have a lane to come back unless they're start really bulking up on their broadcasting crew, and season 55 is broadcasters versus MTV. But I don't know where the fit is for Ben, and I think by the time we get through the end of the season, I think Ben will be more of like a forgotten character by the time the season's said and done. But look, if he pops up on season 42, or if he's on All Stars 11 in a few years, it's like, oh look, Ben's back. I'll be like, oh, that'd be kind of fun. Let's see what he's got in store for his second season.
Yeah, and it's interesting because, and we talked about this last week, Ben has been doing like the media campaign of the century. He's launching his own podcast. He's constantly on Instagram. He's constantly promoting the show. He's going to Challenge Mania events. So like, it's almost like a Corey style, like his interest is being communicated, which I think helps keep your relevancy, whatever. So absolute tough break for Ben, because I didn't see him making it much longer, but I didn't see him going out this week. And I think the coin flip, the Olivia piece, like he really, really got unlucky this episode.
Yeah, I mean, so I think like we were speculating that this was because episode 1 was a girls' day, right? So we thought it would be like girls, like we going back to the original cycle, but they kind of like flip flop, like it went back to a guys' day here. So we thought Ben would be good for at least a couple weeks, but yeah, it was very surprising to see him. But I guess you know what, he got the visibility spike, and the visibility spike will always get you in the edit. So that got him.
Yeah. So if you Blue went home, and then there was Rogan went home for. Wait, now I'm all confused. Blue went home first, right?
No, Rogan.
Dumb. Okay, sorry. Blue went. So now I'm going to say it again. Rogan went home first, and then there was a female hanging Chad. Then Blue went home. There was no hanging Chad.
Yep.
Then Naya went home, and there was a male hanging Chad. Bananas went home, no hanging Chad. So now a man went home. There'll be a girl hanging Chad. Yeah, that is right. This is the most confusing season of all time, and I hate it.
I guess that's right.
But I think
for some reason we thought, I don't know, I thought we were like lining up at all, like Ben, like it's gonna be girls for a couple weeks. I don't know, maybe, I guess not. Yeah.
Men, woman, woman, man, man, woman, woman. Yeah. I think I said that to you, and I think
we thought that they would flip it. That it would they would flip the order maybe completely, but I guess it makes sense that they have their like A, B, C, D block, and now we're back to A. Next week is B. Yeah, but it's okay.
Let's do a quick point recap, because we did get a rare time where we're able to see this. Michaela dominating 29 points. Olivia not far behind for getting 0 points this week with 26 points. This is my math, by the way, not confirmed. I think Will, just from a spot check, is the winningest man, 24 points.
Okay.
And I'm trying to look at the vet men. Turbo has 20. That might be the best vet male performance right now? Yeah. So still people hanging close, but Michaela really dominating here in the points.
Good for Michaela. Yeah, she's really coming in, having a great season. I guess the worry is like, are we going to get confessionals of people being like, I guess we should target Michaela, she's winning so much, yada yada yada. Again, I don't think that's going to be the case, but we'll see. Maybe like Michaela's, being like she's the center of her own story, and people aren't even looking at her like that as much. But I mean, look, if she keeps winning, then eventually they are going to look at her.
Do you have a Newt of the week?
It's tough. As we were going through it, I was waiting to see in my head what would pop, but this was outside of like, Ben going home, this was a very vet-centric week. Obviously, with Derek working the elimination, Kayla was more of the voice winning the daily. The Olivia was really behind the vote to get Ben in. Ashley spearheaded the vote to keep the vote away from her. So if we come up with one, this I feel like would be one of the lowest on the totem pole of a Newt of a week. And I mean,
I'll
for
say,
doing the memorial. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't have it.
So I'm tempted to give a very soft nomination to Jeremy, and here's why. I think
Okay.
he does escape the vote where one of the beloved vets calls him out directly and he manages to survive. Granted, it was by coin flip.
Sure.
And we do get reminded, we get another graphic of how he's got the strong alliance. We didn't really talk about it because it's something new. Again, we keep seeing Newts get together and talk about eventually overthrowing the vets, but we see him kind of, I think, as the main face of the Newt resistance.
Yeah.
So, like, by a hair, I guess, of a week where there's nobody else to talk about, maybe Jeremy's the Newt.
Yeah, I mean, there's really no one else. I mean, Leo avoids being a hangnail because John A shows up. Like, there's not much going around for the Newts this week. Yeah, so I'm good. I'm good with the Jeremy. That's fine. Very, very. This is
Light.
this is not the lightest one of the season. It's it's a feather.
Yeah, and it's a little bit of a career award, right? Because I don't think he got the first Newt of the week when he
For
came
episode
out as
0.
like the strongest. Yeah,
That's fair.
so maybe it's a little bit of a. It's like the
Lifetime
Revenant of Newts.
Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yeah. Okay, as is probably obvious by how much I'm squirming around on the YouTube, I am in the physically most uncomfortable place ever to be podcasting. So
We could wrap.
Thanks to the 5-star reviewers, I pulled up FR, and Exote52. You also review us on Spotify. I don't get to see you there, but like that matters.
It does. You can subscribe, of course, robbinswebsite.com/challenge feed. Follow me on Twitter, CohenBryan_, and they can follow you.
Don't follow me anywhere, but join us in the Facebook group.
Yes, we're so close. We're so close to 1,000.
I also like a couple really interesting discussions have popped off that I was going to bring up here, but we're already over an hour. And again, my back is killing me, so I'm not going to. But I was getting riled up in the Facebook group this week, so we're having some interesting discussions.
Love to see it. Join it. A lot of good conversations. A lot of things to be had. So join the Facebook group. We're almost at 1,000. So if you're the 1,000th, you'll get post a little 1,000 photo. The Facebook comes up with some cool ones, and it'll be your name tag. So you got a chance to be the 1,000th. So
we didn't do any. Let me look at this.
I was going to list off the team, but I don't want you to be so uncomfortable.
Who's D-Man? Oh my God, the quarterback of the Patriots. I have to care about.
We did. We got Justin Herbert. He's
CD Lamb. Can we be CD's nuts?
Absolutely, we could be that.
Great. I love the team.
All right, great. No Kelsey. A big day for the Kelseys, or a big week for the Kelseys getting engaged. Yeah. So shout out to them. Taylor Kelsey. That's got a nice ring to it, right?
Yeah. Why not Travis Swift?
Could be Travis Swift.
That's a sick name for an offensive football player.
Travis Swift. Yeah, could be.
Who's better, Travis Swift or the Swift from the Challenge?
Travis Swift. Swift from the Challenge. Wow, that was what, Cancun? Was he real with Cancun? I think so.
I don't know, but what was his is his first name Swift?
St. Thomas, I'm thinking of. I think his last name is Swift.
Brandon Swift. Okay,
yeah,
Brandon.
Because I think the redhead was Brandon as well from that season. I think that's why
You're telling me from the real world St. Thomas?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't the redhead Brandon?
Brandon Kane. Wow.
Yeah, that's who he had like a fling with Marie that season.
Well, no, Rob had a fling with Marie.
Wait,
Brandon.
Who's the other Brandon then?
Brandon is a person from Massachusetts who has huge like gauges in his ear. And
wow, his name was Brandon.
Oh.
Okay, well I remembered Rob.
When are we doing a real world rewatch and just getting canceled?
Well, Patreon, look out for that.
I have to say, rewatching some old seasons of the challenge, like I cannot believe we talked about them, and I no one's messaged us canceling us, so maybe we did a good job, but like.
It's probably better we had a smaller following back then, so we didn't have to like talk about some other.
I mean, they're like the way they talk about women. Women talk about women on the show are like, she's such a nasty hoe. Like it's so crazy.
And
Anyway.
that's like, I mean, that's what, like season 26 they're doing? Like,
yeah, literally.
I mean, season 16, it was like, you know, the most stereotypical, like, misogynistic stuff you could ever find on television that was happening in the challenge in like the early 2000s, mid 2000s.
Yeah, check it out on Paramount Plus.
We'll be back next week for episode 6. Until then, have a good one.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.